All right, here we go. This one's going to be a 25 auto test. Today, we're going to be testing out the Hornady Critical Defense versus the Speer Gold Dot. So here is that Critical Defense. That one is a 35 grain bullet. It does have that polymer tip stuffed down in that hollow point cavity. Has nickel plated brass, and that one is rated at 900 feet per second. And that Gold Dot, that one is also a 35 grain bullet. Does have a pretty good size hollow point cavity on that one. Does have your nickel plated brass, and that one is also rated at 900 feet per second. So today we're going to be going out of our Beretta 950 Jetfire. That one does have a 2.4 inch barrel. Looks like we have just enough room in this gel. We do have a couple previous tests, but right down the center it looks like we might be able to get some couple more small rounds going. So we'll be going through that gel. That is a 10% block. Do have our catch block behind that, but I'm sure we won't need it. So a total of 25 inches of gel. Our 4 layers of cotton t-shirt on the front. And like always, we'll set up our chronograph so we can hopefully pick up those impact velocities. So let's set up and see how these rounds do. First one up will be that Critical Defense. All right, we're stepping back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. All right, so it looks like our impact velocity on that was 894 feet per second. So pretty darn close to that advertised. So good to see there. All right, check that out. Looks like we got a nice, good hit right where we're aiming for. And that one has a little tiny entry hole. Not so much of a star pattern on this one like our normal rounds, but that is a tiny round. It's not putting out too much energy, but really cool to see. So let's check it out from the side. Let's check it out from the top first, actually. So there, that round is resting. This is actually a cavity from a different test, so it's probably not gonna be able to see it from this top. So let's check it out from the side. So it is this one right here down the center, but it actually looks like we got quite a bit of penetration there. So as you can see, it came in, and looks like we have a little tiny stretch cavity. Not the biggest, but it's still there. And came pretty far, actually. Got quite a bit of penetration, and that round is actually sitting in there backwards. So let's see if we can get a measurement on this one. And it's the widest spot. Let's see. We are right at, man, that's a tough one. So we'll probably have to see more whenever we do our cross sections. But probably about 3/4 of an inch on that. Yeah, right at 3/4 of an inch. So definitely not the biggest stretch, but not really expected to be pretty crazy or too crazy on that one. But we actually got quite a bit of penetration. Let's see how much penetration we got. So our leading edge right there at the base of that round, we are at 9 3/4 inches. So that's actually pretty impressive for that. I think when I tested this before, it's probably about the same. So pretty good to see. So let's set up for that Gold Dot and see how that one does. All right, we're stepping back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. So our impact velocity on that was 989 feet per second. So really good to see there. So we're just shy of that 1,000 feet per second mark, but not bad at all. And same thing on this one. Looks like we got a perfect shot on this. This one was an open tip hollow point, so you can actually see a little tiny opening there. That one was that closed tip FTX, so can't really see down in there, but you can actually see right down in that little tiny cavity. Man, that is a little itty bitty hole. So this one we're not gonna be able to see on the top, just like the last one, just because it's big stretch cavity from a different test is kind of in the way. So we're gonna check it out from the side right away. Check that out. So it does look like it kind of collided with one of our other shots, but we should still be able to get a pretty good reading. But looking pretty good. So it looks like that one came in, opened up pretty nicely. Actually, looks like we actually got a little bit more disruption in that gel than that FTX, but did flatline pretty quick. So let's see what kind of measurement we got on that. So that one is pretty much the same, I guess, right at 3/4 of an inch. We'll be able to tell a little bit better once we actually cut it. Yeah, about 3/4 of an inch, but a little bit shallower penetration. And that one looks like it is facing upwards. That top one was facing backwards, so they're kind of tumbling in there after a while. But let's see. So that one got at our leading edge just shy of 8 inches of penetration, so about 1.5 inches less on that one, but still pretty good to see for that little 25 auto. You know, it's not a crazy overpower round, and usually if someone is carrying that, they are using a full metal jacket so they can get that penetration. But I figured this one would be just a fun just to see how those hollow points do. So let's see, let's lay this flat so we can hopefully get a little bit better picture of that. So there we go. So the one on the right is that FTX, the one on the left is that Gold Dot. So you can see those both came in really nicely, opened up, dumped a little bit of that energy there, went through, and neither one of them made it out of that block, but still got some pretty decent penetration for both. And pretty cool to see, actually. So let's see if we could remeasure this one. So that one, yeah, right at 3/4 of an inch for the FTX. And as good as I can see, actually, now that I'm seeing it from the top, that Gold Dot actually has about an inch of stretch on that. So pretty impressive, actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull these rounds and see what they look like. All right, check these things out. Looks like they both actually got some really nice expansion, surprisingly. So the one on the right is that Hornady FTX. The one on the left is that Speer Gold Dot. So really cool to see there. You can see that FTX does have that polymer tip. We were able to catch that. And then that Gold Dot actually has a little bit of that cotton t-shirt stuff down in there. So here is that FTX round. Little tiny thing compared to all these big bore rounds we've been testing lately. But still a really nice expansion. Pretty much picture perfect on that. Open up really nicely. Excuse me. And definitely really cool to see there. Pretty awesome that it actually expanded, especially going through that cotton t-shirt. It's a pretty hard test, actually. And here is that Speer Gold Dot. Like I said, you can see that cotton t-shirt stuff down in there, but this one opened up really nicely also. I have messed around just kind of testing this one in bare gel, and actually does really good. So it's good to see that even with those 4 layers, it did pretty good. But really nice uniform expansion on that one also. And later on, we will do our screenshots and all that good stuff here at the end, our slow-mos and close-ups. So I'll pull that cotton t-shirt so you can get a better look at the inside of that hollow point cavity. But here is the bottom of both of those. You could definitely see that that Gold Dot opened up a little bit more. And one more time from the top. And there we go. That was the FTX versus the Gold Dot. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, here's that cross section for that FTX round. It's pretty crazy seeing these compared to those bigger calibers, because this thing is super small, but still looks like we got some decent damage in there. But there is one of the little tracks, and there is the other one. I did remeasure these at their widest spots, and they're right at 1/2 inch. So still pretty cool to see there that it's actually doing something. So let's cut it open. All right, so here's after cutting. So this bottom is the right, this top is the left. So I actually did remeasure this. It was a little bit easier to kind of see what was going on after I cut it open. And at some of the widest spots on this, we're just over 3/4 of an inch. So we actually did get quite a bit of damage in there. So here's that bottom track. You can see where it came in, started to open up, carrying it nice, good wound track through there. But not as deep of cuts on this one, but man, it really did do some damage, which is pretty surprising. So soon we will test some Full Metal Jacket just to see if that does a difference. I'm sure it will tumble in there, causing a little bit of a disruption, but it's pretty cool to see. And same on this top side, you can see where it came in, hit, kind of drug that channel throughout. But same thing right there. See a little bit of that cotton t-shirt that this one did drag into. And a little tiny wound track in there. Still, I would not want to be in front of that thing, but there we go. There was that Hornady FTX. All right, and here's that cross section for that Gold Dot. So this one actually did a little bit different type of damage. Not as much splitting, but kind of uniform. That's usually what those Gold Dots do. They usually cut really nice patterns in there. But I did remeasure these at their widest spot, and this is right at 1 inch. So a little bit more damage than that last one that we just saw, that FTX round. So pretty impressive for that little 25. So let's cut it open. All right, and here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right, this top is the left. So I did actually remeasure this one also because it was a little bit easier to see after I cut it open. And we're right at 1 1/8 inches. So a little bit more than expected there. But you can see this one as soon as it came in, kind of delayed. And then we started getting some action, opened up. Nice little stretch cavity going on throughout there. But got a pretty good amount of damage right there. Like I said with that last one, I would not want to be in the path of that thing. But still pretty good, and a decent amount of penetration too. Not as much as FTX, but still pretty good. But here's that top part. You can see that one came in, opened up. You can see that nice stretch. And same thing with this. Nice little damage path going on. So very impressive there. So really cool to see. I haven't tested that Gold Dot yet on cam. I did shoot a couple off cam in just bare gel, and they actually did really good. So it's cool to see it actually perform well going through that 4 layers of cotton t-shirt also. But there we go. That one was at 35 grain Speer Gold Dot.